Can you believe we've reached episode 20? Stick around because today is a listening practice episode where I'm going to put our co-host and Spanish skills to the test with a little quiz.
Welcome to Spanglish Friends, the podcast for true beginner Spanish learners.
Hola amigos, I'm Val, your co-host and experienced Spanish teacher from Venezuela.
And I'm Em, your Australian co-host who's been learning Spanish for 10 years.
Our goal is simple, to get you confident listening and speaking in beginner Spanish with content you'll actually use in real-life conversations.
Join the Spanish Friends community by subscribing wherever you listen to podcasts and following us on social media at Spanglish_Friends. Let's get started.
Comencemos.
Whoop whoop! Did somebody say 20? The big 2-0.
That's right. Today is our 20th episode, episodio 20.
Yes, and we have covered so much Spanglish Friends in just the few months since we kicked off this podcast in March 2025. So we thought it was time to recap all the Spanish we've learnt so far.
And honestly, I also wanted an opportunity to show off more of amazing Spanish skill. So today, Spanglish Friends, we are going to be testing her.
Dios mío, I am nervous for today. Our Profe Val has prepared for me 5 questions, friends, based on all the Spanish we've learnt to date as true beginner learners.
That's right. And I promise you all, Spanglish Friends, Em has not seen these questions, okay? So she is going to have think on her feet, just as if we are having a really beginner's conversation in Espanol.
Yes, so Val's going to ask me these questions in Spanish. I'll reply in Spanish, and then we'll break down everything we said afterwards in English, okay? Including my mistakes, which are bound to happen. So we want you to be able to say with confidence after today's episode that from this listening practice, you 100% understood what we were saying in Spanish.
Listening practice of this network is so important as a beginner. So a heads up, Spanglish Friends, especially if you are new to our podcast or join us for the first time, these are the topics I'm going to be asking Em questions about today. So if you're unfamiliar with any of this content, you might like to go back and revisit the specific episode we have on that topic afterwards, such as, for example, introducing yourself, your name, color, season routine, etc.
Okay, well, I think it's time. Without further ado, Val, I'm turning on my Spanish brain and my spingle, my Spanish tingle, to try and remember the words I need to know and which are masculine and feminine, which I always get wrong.
Your spingle, oh my. And remember, Spanglish Friends, the idea is to not get 100% of what Em and I are saying. It's to start recognizing the vocabulary we have been teaching you. If you just catch one thing, that's a progress towards improving your Spanish listening skills.
Absolutamente, Profe Val. All right, let's do this. Ponme a prueba, okay? Put me to the test.
Listo, amiga. Let's go. Entonces, comencemos. Hola, Em. Cuéntame. ¿De dónde eres?
Yo soy de Australia.
Genial. ¿Y cuántos años tienes?
Yo tengo 27 años.
Maravilloso. ¿Y cuál es tu color favorito?
Mi color favorito es azul.
¿Qué haces en tu tiempo libre?
Normalmente yo bailo y yo canto.
Ok, interesante. ¿Cuál es tu estación favorita y por qué?
Mi estación favorito es el verano porque me encanta el color.
And that was our last question. Well done, amiga. Let's recap everything we've revised today.
Phew, I've survived the test. I just had memories of back to when I did my first ever Spanish test at night school. And today really brought back those visceral memories for me, putting me on the spot.
You did amazing. Well done. We are so all proud of you. Okay, amigos, going to the first question. I asked her, ¿De dónde eres? ¿De dónde eres? If we go back to the episodes about introducing yourself, ¿De dónde eres is a question we might want to ask someone to say, where are you from?
That's right. And I responded, Yo soy de Australia. Is that the correct structure, Profe Val?
Correct. You say, to respond to this question, yo soy, which means I am, de, from, and you say the country where you come from. In this case, she said, Australia.
Woohoo! 1 for 1 to start with. And what was our second question that I answered, Profe Val?
Our second question was, ¿Cuántos años tienes? Do you remember, amigo, what that means?
Yes. ¿Cuántos means how many? Años means years. And tienes comes from the verb tener, and it is the conjugation for you. So you're saying, how many years do you have, if we literally translated that sentence? But we know in English, that means, how old are you?
Great explanation, and you answered perfectly.
I said, yo tengo, which means I have. Remember, in Spanish, we literally say, I have years. I wear years. We don't say I am in Spanish. We don't use the verb ser, to be. We use tener, to have years. So I said yo tengo, which is the conjugation for I. Remember, we added an O at the end. Yo tengo, and it's an irregular verb. And then I added the amount of años that I have, which is 27. We know in English this means I am 27 years old.
Great. Pregunta número 3 was, ¿cuál es tu color favorito? If we go back to episode 8 where we learned the colors, we would know that ¿cuál es tu color favorito means what is your favorite color? Okay, so I ask, ¿cuál? Which means what is tu color, your color favorito, favorite. So it would be literally, what is your color favorite? As we remember here in Spanish, we flip the order of the noun with the adjective.
That's right. That's right. So you asked me what's my favorite color, and I think I responded, mi color favorito es azul.
Yes, and it was correct answer. She said, mi color favorito, literally, my color favorite is, and she said the color, azul, blue.
Which is blue. Yeah, that's right. So I made sure I said my color favorito instead of favorito color. What was the fourth question you asked me, Profe Val?
La pregunta 4, our question number 4 was, ¿qué haces en tu tiempo libre? This is a question that we are learning in our last episodes where we are learning about the simple present tense in Spanish. So I asked her, ¿qué haces en tu tiempo libre? Breaking the sentence down, ¿qué haces is what do you do? En tu, in your tiempo libre, like free time. ¿Qué haces en tu tiempo libre?
That's right. And haces comes from the verb hacer, the doing verb hacer, which means to do, right? And we're putting es at the end. We're taking the stem of the verb hacer, which is er. We're removing the er and we're adding es at the end to get haces, okay? And if we remember back to one of our earliest episodes about what letters we pronounce versus don't pronounce in Spanish, we don't say haces, we say haces, because we don't pronounce the H in Spanish. It's silent. And then I responded and I told Val what I did in my tiempo libre, in my free time. And I said to her two things. I said, yo bailo and yo canto. So I used two verbs and I conjugated them. I removed the ending and I added an O to say what I do in my spare time. So what were the two things I said, Val, that I did in my spare time?
Yo bailo, which means I dance. Bailar is the verb to dance. And she said yo canto, which means I sing. Cantar is the verb in Spanish to sing. I asked you, our pregunta número 5, or question number 5 was, ¿cuál es tu estación favorita? ¿Y por qué? So I said, What is your favorite season? ¿Cuál es tu estación favorita? And I also added a little question there and I said, ¿y por qué? And why? Do you remember, Em? What do you say?
I think I said mi estación favorita, and hopefully I used a instead of o. Is that correct? Did I use the right ending? Did I say favorita or favorito?
Amiga, so you said estación favorito is la estación. It's a feminine word. So instead of saying favorito, next time you say favorita.
But this is a really good example, and I'm glad I made that mistake for Spanglish Friends and you heard me say it, because even myself, after 10 years of learning, I'm put on the spot and asked questions that I'm not prepared for. Sometimes the genders just go out of my brain. But again, it's okay as a Spanish beginner learner to make these mistakes, because like you get to develop your spingle, right? Your Spanish tingle. Like I knew that that was incorrect, and often you will then self-correct yourself, or people will understand what you're saying. Like Val understood what I was trying to say, and people will help you get to the right answer. The most important thing is you're putting yourself out there, you're practicing, and you're trying, right? That's better than not trying at all.
And as Spanish speakers, we are never going to judge you for that. We are going to understand. The sentence won't lose the sense each time. You're going to fix little things and you're going to improve along the way.
That's right. So if I'm correct in that, I said mi estación favorita es el verano. And if we remember back to our previous episode, episode 19, we learnt the 4 seasons of the year. I said my favorite season is verano, which means summer. I continued the sentence by saying, mi estación favorita es el verano. ¿Por qué? So that was our joining word. I was saying because, and then I added the reason. And then I said what I liked specifically. So I said, porque me encanta el color.
Exactamente. However, what M really meant to say is me encanta el calor, because el color means the color and calor means the heat.
I did. And that highlights the importance of just getting one letter right in a Spanish word. So what I was intending to say is because I love the heat. So I said, porque me encanta, which is like, I love, me encanta. You could also say me gusta, which is like, I like, but me encanta is more, it's a stronger sense to say like, I really love this thing. So I said, porque me encanta el calor, the heat.
Thank you, Em, for showing your Spanish skills, not just about speaking, but also showing how a real life conversation look like.
No, thank you, everyone. And someone else who we're super proud of is our Spanglish friend of the week, who is Michelle, who commented on episode 17.
Yes, Michelle commented on episode 17 where we asked you what month is your birthday, and they replied correctly using the structure mi cumpleaños es en plus the month. So they said mi cumpleaños es en febrero. My birthday is in February.
Yes, thank you so much for getting involved. We're so proud of you and all the Spanglish friends that have been participating in our reto of the week to date. So stick around, friends, for today's reto so you can practice your Spanish skills and potentially be featured in an upcoming episode shout out.
Love it. I just would like to recap the 3 things we want you to take away from today's episode, Spanglish Friends. If you forget everything else that we have spoken about today, tune in now and remember these 3 things. Número uno, number 1. To say our age, we use the verb tener. Do you have? To answer the question, ¿cuántos años tienes? Which literally means how many years do you have? You can simply say yo tengo plus the amount of years. For example, yo tengo 27 años. Número 2, number 2. To answer the question, ¿qué haces en tu tiempo libre? Which means, what do you do in your free time? You can use the structure en mi tiempo libre, plus you conjugate the verb you need to show the things you do in your free time. For example, might be with the verb bailar, which means to dance, or might be with the verb cantar if you sing in your free time. Okay, here you can go back to episode 18 and check how to conjugate with yo and the different verbs you might like to use for this. And last one, número 3, number 3. Remember, if you want to say that you love something, that you really like something, you can use me encanta plus the thing you like, as M said, for example. Me encanta el calor. So she said, I love the heat. We also post a summary on our Instagram page each week of the key concept for each episode. So go and check this out, friends.
And now on to our much awaited reto, our challenge of the week. This week, we want you to tell us what's your favorite thing you've learnt through our podcast so far? Or tell us, alternatively, what would you like us to teach you in an upcoming episode about beginner's Spanish? Comment on our episode or DM us on our Instagram page.
Well, friends, that's the end of our Episodio 20, our special listening episode. We hope you have enjoyed. And we want your feedback. If these kind of episodes are useful, tell us and we will keep them coming in between our learning content.
And spoiler alert, next week we are diving into a key concept for beginner Spanish learners, which is usted. Basically, in Spanish, there is a formal way to say you. Okay, we've learnt the word tú, which is the informal way. Now we're going to be learning about usted, the formal way. We're going to teach you when you should use it, how to use it, and common examples that you need to use or be able to use as a beginner speaker.
Tune in next week, friends. Thank you again for being part of our awesome community. We're so happy about it. Hasta luego, amigos.
Que pasen una semana linda. Have a beautiful week. See you soon.
Thank you for listening to Spanglish Friends. We are both so proud of the time you're investing to level up your Spanish listening and speaking skills.
If you've enjoyed today's episode, follow us and give the show a rating wherever you listen to podcasts. Or even better, tell a friend about the show. It's how we can help even more people on their Spanish learning journeys and continue to grow our awesome, supportive community.
Don't forget to check out our socials, including Instagram and TikTok at Spanglish_Friends for even more beginner Spanish fun.
Congratulations on taking another step today towards your Spanish learning goals. Ciao, Spanglish amigos. Until next time.
Hasta la próxima, amigos.